Good evening. Welcome to all of you for talk number 44. We have with us a guest speaker, Mr. Gursaurabh Singh, uh, who is an inventor and also founder of Dhruv Vidyut electric conversion kit. Um, it happened through the random exchanges on the WhatsApp forum, and this something that came up, and I had a chance to see it and see this relevance of something like this, which is so powerful. And I thought our forum should get the benefit of listening to Gursaurabh. And I just happened to connect with him, and it so happened that he was very excited to come and be in this forum and talk about his invention. It's so nice of you, Gursaurabh. Gursaurabh has a very interesting career, I should say. He actually is a graduate of literature from Delhi University, but he's extremely passionate about anything that is to do with automobile. He has built a lot of expertise in um mold and die making, and then this particular invention is something that came about through a whole lot of deliberations and a deep connect that he had with the problem that he very deeply felt is something that requires some kind of what is called a tipping invention. So he is going to talk a lot about it, and I'm sure that this forum will greatly get inspired from this session of his, and also I'm sure that those of us who find this very exciting should also look at a way to collaborate with Gursaurabh. Gursaurabh, the session is yours.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ravi. I am very excited to be here. I was looking forward for this time, and let's just go for it, man. I will play the video, which enabled all of this. The reason why we all are here is because of that one video that I uploaded in February, and the thing went viral. So let me just share that video, and once the video is done, we'll take it from there. All right. So let me just switch over.
Yeah.
So yeah, so this is the video that went viral, and this is the video which shows the invention that I have been working on for the last 3 years, and this is the vision I had. This was a problem I saw. I felt that I was empowered enough. I have what it takes to bring a solution, and apparently this is the solution that I thought would work, and it's now it's done, and it feels great that I think I have hit the right chords with this. The journey of how I got to this point and how uh, uh, the invention, the journey of the invention itself, and what got me to this point is rather interesting. I discussed that with Ravi, and I would like to share with you all on how I got to this point. So let's begin. Like Ravi said, I was born and brought up in Delhi, and my background is not into engineering or into management. I did my honors in literature, and that's more or less it. Engineering, traveling, motorcycles, machinery. This was like, in my blood. It was inherent. I always had a very deep inclination towards towards machining, towards fabrication, towards playing with metal, towards parts, welding. That always drew me towards itself. So yeah, so this is this is a picture which kind of sums up how seriously I took education. This picture is when I was in 11th, and as you can see, I took education rather seriously. Uh, this is one of my favorite pictures. This was taken in Nepal. Once education was over, once school was over, college was over, I was also into sports, discus and hammer throwing. I was Delhi State gold medalist, and then I participated in the national twice. So that was what was happening predominantly in school and college. By the end of college, traveling and motorcycling was something that I wanted to explore. My love for motorcycles was just very intense, and traveling was something that drew me to it. So traveling by motorcycle was something that was a never-ending affair, and I just naturally started traveling. So I went all across India, just about every state I've visited in India on my bike, along with friends, with groups, and so on. So this is one picture in Nepal, which is behind me is the Dhaulagiri mountain. This is the eighth tallest mountain in the world. So this is the westernmost tip of India. This is run of Kutch. This is Arunachal. While we were in Arunachal, we shot the whole journey on camera. We made a documentary film called One Crazy Ride that went on to get multiple awards internationally, and it was directed by a very good friend of mine, Gaurav Jani. And this film, opened up doorways even further. Because of this film, we were able to travel all across the world, go for screenings, interacting with so many people, into filmmakers, into the world of filmmaking, and that's how my interest towards filmmaking, towards photography, towards editing, cinematography, music. That's how the whole journey began on that front as well. This was because of that film, which was shot in Arunachal. So this is again one more picture from a place called Sach Pass. It's beautiful. I love that place again. I've visited several times. So this was yeah. So this is one of my favorite pictures. It's also pretty close to a place called Kilar, pretty close to Manali, and this was one place I wanted to explore. And this picture also went viral a few years ago on the internet. Triumph India, the brand itself, shared this on their page, and it got like thousands of likes here and there, shares and comments. The usual how it gets viral. So that's the adventure part in me. Traveling, motorcycling, machinery, that was always inherent. My love for it was never dying, and soon enough, all of that by when 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 college ended and when I had enough of traveling, I moved on into manufacturing motorcycle parts. And then after once I was manufacturing motorcycle parts, the story graduated further, and I got into mold and die making. So these are molds and these are dies which press sheet metal into different shapes. So my expertise was into aluminium and especially into aluminium sheet metal. So I've worked with projects across the world, MotoGP teams across the world, brands across the world. The picture that you see on your screen currently is one of the fastest Norton motorcycles in the world into drag racing. So I work with such teams. This picture currently is a project we did for Honda North America. Um, this is again one of the world's fastest Hondas. I got the opportunity to work on the sheet metal on the body parts. This is again a project for Harley Davidson. Um, this is one project I did for Royal Enfield. This is also, believe it or not, this is a Himalayan. If you guys are familiar with a motorcycle called Himalayan by Enfield, so this is one of the Himalayans, which was heavily modified, and this was one project we did for the brand Royal Enfield, and so this was very exciting. This follows a theme called a broad track salt track racer. So that was my journey with Royal Enfield. What you see on the screen currently are tanks that have been made by one of the biggest and the heaviest molds that I have designed. The molds which uh, stamp out these tanks are unique because the molds that I designed are the only molds in the world which draw the entire tank in one single shot, in one single draw. So what you see on your screen right now are tanks without any welding seams. So this is the only mold in the world that ever somebody ever designed to work in this particular format. So I'm rather very proud of this particular mold that I designed. So I have been into mold and die making for the last 16 years, and that has been my prime expertise. Aluminium, especially, is one of my expertise. About 5-ish years ago, I was sort of getting over with my love for machining and die making, and electric, especially anything to do with mobility, was drawing me towards it. And I got into electric, and this is the first ever electric project that I worked on. This is a complete custom motorcycle built from scratch, which is entirely electric. This is a racing motorcycle. It was being made for a race in Spain. So this was my first ever project that I worked on in terms of electric. And this time I knew it. I mean, the electric was the new bug that had bit me, and I was like, I was instantly, drawn to the world of electric. So the more I studied electric, the more I understood the mechanism, the more I understood how sustainable it is. I always had a feeling that in India we can do wonders if we can simply just convert the existing uh, mobility options that are there, like scooters and cycles and cars and so on. If you could just simply replace the engines, if you could just simply replace a diesel or a petrol engine with a motor and a battery, then we don't need to replace the entire vehicle. And later I learned that is called retrofitment. That's again a category in which you simply just replace the engines and bring in motors and batteries. So I started working in that direction. And initially I thought that a scooter is going to be what I will work on. So for about 3 years, I worked on a scooter, designed a complete new engine, complete new battery setup, which can replace older engines of scooters, say like the Vespa, like the Activa, like the Jupiter, so on. Predominant common scooters. and simply just have a motor and a battery run through them, and hence, no need to convert the entire scooter or change the entire scooter, just change the engine, and there you have it. So I thought that was a revolutionary idea, and I worked on a scooter, and that was the idea behind moving towards a sustainable model for mobility. Now, during Corona, when COVID came in, that was the point where I thought that scooters are good as a business model, but what is really needed is something for the bicycles. Now, bicycles, I mean, they are like so common, and they're more than 50% of Indian commuters commuting daily use bicycles. And somehow we need to figure out a way to convert bicycles, and that's how a revolution can happen. The bicycle may be a smaller, cheaper option compared to a scooter, but if you look at the numbers are huge. So if I am thinking about a revolution in terms of mobility, that has to happen through a bicycle. So that was the idea behind me shifting my gears and moving into the field of bicycles instead of pursuing, the conversion of scooters. So the journey went on. I mean, I got the bicycle, and my first reaction to the bicycle was that it was so simple to work with. I had worked with, 8-ton, 7-ton molds, with motorcycles, with heavier equipment, and suddenly the bicycle felt so free. So I just happened to, explore the options that are there, every possible mechanism of transferring power, whether it is a belt or a chain or a shaft, different motors, different batteries, all sorts of combinations that you can possibly physically try on a bicycle. I tried them just to make sure that I get what I want. So the two parameters that were supreme for me was whatever I design needs to be perfect in terms of a bolt-on fit. We need something where you don't need any sort of welding, any sort of grinding, a true blue dictionary meaning of a DIY. That was the first priority that I had. The second, of course, was the cost. And no matter what I do, the cost has to be affordable for somebody who's riding a bicycle, which is about 4 or 5,000 rupees. How much can you push this guy to buy your kit for? If you develop the world's best kit and it's going to be for 20,000, I mean, I don't think so. That's a viable model. You might have done a great job. You put it in a museum somehow, but then that's not going to cause an impact. That's not going to bring the revolution that I want. So the two things, like I said, price and the design. These were the priority. And because this was such a personal project that I always wanted to do, and I was not answerable to anyone. There was no deadline. There was no, consequences to what I experiment with. On top of that, during the COVID time, life had slowed down for many people. So I kind of used that opportunity to try out everything which I ever wanted to try. So, as you can see in the pictures, these are different chains, different belt setups that I tried, different motor setups. Look at, in this particular picture, look at the whole setup. It looks cumbersome, but at that time, I was going into this direction of using multiple rollers, larger sprocket, 3 different sprockets. As you can see here, it's again a different setup, a different working mechanism. These were experiments that I was doing. I was observing, making notes of, seeing what happens. I mean, I wanted to try everything, see for myself, only then go ahead with the change in the design. So these are again more pictures showing the different combinations of chains and rollers and motors that I have tried on. And yeah, like this one again, I would try something and see what happens, and if there was a flaw, go back to the drawing board, change the design, come back again. try it out again, change again. This was a non-stop process, and which I used to think that it's just it's just going to take a couple of days, but apparently it took more than 2.5 years to perfect. But by the end of 2-ish years, I was getting close to the final design, what you just saw in the video, a triangulated box which fits right into the frame without any modifications. This is how I step by step kept getting closer to it. What you see on your screen right now is one of the very early designs which were working. Before that, things were okay, but they were not really working. This particular picture, I remember the day because this was the first time the bicycle started working and I could ride it. So even though it kind of looks cumbersome, and do pay attention to how big the rear sprocket is. So, but all those modifications and everything, this was the first time it worked. It was very motivating. I was very happy, and I knew that this can be refined, and the concept that I am working on, might just be viable enough. So again, the same design, one of the early designs, and yeah. So this is one of the initial designs which resembles the final product that you guys see. So this was, as you can see, from where we started to the point where we are. This is the time it was taking shape. This used to be my working table just about every day. Clumsy, haphazard, a lot of things going on at the same time. But I always love being haphazard. So that's in a nutshell, the journey of how we got to the point where we are right now. This, what you see on the screen right now, is the final design. And as a matter of fact, if you just look at my camera, I have actually got the device itself. So you see, this is from where we started to this point. This is where we have reached. Ravi, can you hear me loud and clear, and can you see? Are the visuals okay?
Yes, Gursaurabh. Yes.
Okay. So this is what it is. This is what you saw in the video. I'm very happy that it has become so compact and so light, and it's a complete bolt-on fit. And and I was always very inspired by old radios and old televisions. So I'm not sure, but does this look like an old radio to you?
It does.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So this mesh and the whole design, I mean, and the roundness of it, and the two wheels and the two caps, and so this particular cap is for the charger inlet. This is how it is. You remove that, you plug the charger in. The second one is for a USB port. You can charge your phone, your laptop. You can power a fan, a light, or anything that requires electricity. So yeah. So this is the result of a lot of experimentation and a lot of design changes over the last 2.5 years. So yeah, and this particular picture was during the testing phase, and like I said, I mean, I never wanted to get approvals from bodies like the ARAI or the ICAT, which are usually there to certify and test automobiles. I just wanted to do everything myself to make sure it is what I want, and I want what I want. It's as simple as this. So if this thing is going to be waterproof, I need to test it and submerge it into water and make sure it still runs. If I want it to be mud-proof, I'll put it in sludge and see if it works. If I want it to be fireproof, I'll literally light the thing on fire. So this was the testing phase, and the changes were happening. I would test, then come back to the drawing board, do a couple of changes, then go back again to testing. So that was a phase. when finally when the video was shot, that was the time when I realized that yes, I now I have what I want, and I should go ahead and make a video, just so that I could share my design and my invention and my vision with some of my friends. I never had an idea that it's going to go viral or it's going to create an impact. It never occurred to me that way. So once I uploaded the video, it was on the 8th of February, and 8th and 9th February was incredible because it was straight out of a Bollywood film, right? I'm just waking up to phone calls. They're like 800 missed calls. They're like 1,000 messages on my WhatsApp, and I'm waking up to different people, talking, and I'm like, what the hell is happening? Like, what just happened? And these are investors. These are automobile manufacturers. These are people everywhere trying to get in touch and see how we can collaborate and so on. So that was that was very flattering to the least. I mean, that's the least I can say. And for me, that was a very sudden change because for 2.5 years, I mean, I was living like a monk. I mean, I had no idea. Log corona aa gaya, log mar rahe hain, kya ho raha hai. I'm sorry to say that, but I was in my zone, and I'm not much of a social media guy anyways. And all of a sudden, it just felt like the entire world wants to talk. So very overwhelming. And in the next few days, on the 12th of February, Anand Mahendra sir shared the 3 tweets, and and he said, he kind of explained the whole invention in a way that even I couldn't. So he was bang on with so many things, and he called it revolutionary. That was very. I was finally so happy that somebody else said it, and that much validation coming from somebody like Anand Mahendra was something big. I was very, very happy. For about 2 years, I wasn't sure if I am on the right track or not, because I'm one guy chasing a dream, all right? But then when you have so many people saying that yes, it is the right dream, I mean, it kind of feels good. I mean, I wish I had my Thug Life glasses and chain at this moment. Anyways, so as I was saying, I mean, this is Niti Aayog praising the video and the invention on Twitter. This is Robert Llewellyn from BBC and the show How It's Made. He did a whole video on us. These are different people all over the internet sharing the video. This is the Delhi government. The video was going viral on LinkedIn, on all sorts of social media platforms. I got like 3,000 connections in a day and so on. That just yeah. So yeah, it reached to a point where you could just Google bicycle invention electric, and it would just show my name. So that was pretty interesting. I sent that to my dad, and he was very happy to see that. So I was very very happy about it as well. I think if you still do this, probably it will still show my name. This is Mr. Pankaj Munjal. Pankaj Munjal is the owner of Hero Cycles. He did get in touch, and we talked at length. And I was once again, like I said, very flattering coming in from Hero Cycles. That was something big, and I'm very happy that that my invention could reach a point where it could get this sort of appreciation from such industry giants. Now, again, more videos, more on YouTube. People started copying the video and uploading it on their own channels into different languages. So right now, our video is all over the internet in 10 different regional languages, which people have dubbed on their own. The views are in multi-million. One of them is touching, I think, 1.5 billion. So yeah, so I think that's what viral being viral means, I guess. Yeah. In fact, this is my phone, which I use for my work, for all bicycle related work for Dhruv Vidyut. And this picture was taken today. So as of today, 5th July, I have 17,400 unread messages on WhatsApp. Every couple of days I try to reply. I have a team of people who do that, but then this thing keeps adding up. So I just saw in the comments that somebody said that I did not reply. Ravi, can you hear me?
Yeah. We lost a little for a half a second. We're okay.
Okay. So what I was saying was that in the comments here, somebody was just saying that I did not reply to their WhatsApp message. I'm sorry, I could not do it because, as you can see, I'm slightly, like very slightly overwhelmed. So yeah, so that's the journey so far, and this particular picture I have brought in to talk about what bicycles, especially this old roadster design, what it means for India. We have 50%, owners of households in India who use this bicycle. Like, let that number just sink into your mind. 50%. I mean, if and this was the idea all through, that we don't need newer supply chains. We don't need a complete new vehicle. We don't need a complete new bicycle or a scooter. The ones that are already there have the supply chain set. These are tried and tested designs. Everybody is familiar. Why can't we just simply upgrade them? So this picture was one picture that I used to come back to feel motivated again to go work, because the numbers here are in multi crores, and if we could upgrade them, a revolution is bound to happen. So that's the journey so far. I have kind of compressed it into a few minutes. Ravi, that's all I would say up till this point. If there's something you would like to ask, or how do we go ahead from here?
Sure. Thank you, Gursaurabh. Your talk was as compact as the device itself. So nice of you. Yeah. So I will open this forum for questions.
Sure.
Please go ahead. You could. I request you to put your press the hand symbol so that I know who is with you. Go for question. Go ahead.
Yeah. Speechless on how to find the words to appreciate your effort. Absolutely radical out of the world. Extremely appreciative of making it so simple and compact.
Thank you.
Want to understand, where are you in this journey at the moment, and what's stopping you from making each and every cycle have this as an attachment? One. Second is there anything in this which is absolutely a problem in terms of sourcing? I believe a lot of what you need would be not being made in India, especially the right kind of battery cells and the BMS circuits and stuff. And also possibly, if at all you're using a permanent magnet motor, then those could also be not something which are readily available.
Yes. Okay. So to begin with, that most of the components that we are using, or in other words, let's say only the cells are something that I am not manufacturing. Other than that, every single component is being manufactured in-house, including the motor. We are using a PMDC motor, like you rightly said, and we are manufacturing it in-house. And right now we are in talks with a giant into motor manufacturing, and we just signed an MOU, and we are going to go into our own motor manufacturing. So other than that, other than the cells, like I said, everything will be made in-house. To answer your second question, yes, that does slow us down. I think the market says, launch a minimum viable product immediately and then keep on with the changes and everything. Whereas I believe that, I don't want to follow that path. I know what India wants, what people want. I also understand that there are so many other bicycle brands who offer electric bicycles already, and they've been doing it for the last 5 years. Now, how come we don't see those bicycles everywhere? There has to be a reason, and I think these are the reasons why those bicycles are not popular, because they import a lot of stuff. a lot of stuff manufactured in other countries, especially China, on different specifications, then it's forced upon a customer in India at a very premium cost. Now, I have a very simple question, Gokul. If the bicycle is going to cost 25,000 or 30,000, let's say, and if I ask you a simple question that why shouldn't I go ahead and buy a second-hand Activa or a second-hand Splendor, and if somebody can't give me a clear-cut answer, then it's not a viable product. I mean, changing the customer habits, pushing your customer to the point of, making them feel that, oh, you must do something for the environment and this. I mean, I don't believe into all of that. Nobody really cares as much that they would spend 25,000 for environmental reasons. You have to make the product viable. So cutting the costs down only happens when you have a strong R&D. You can't cut the cost by cutting the quality. I mean, that's a notion which people believe, but let me reassure you on that doesn't work. There's a certain quality you can cut and bring the prices down like marginally, but then you have to go on the drawing boards again and again and again just to bring the cost down and make the product more efficient. So like Ravi said, the device is compact. I know the device is compact. You have to go compact, you have to go smaller, you have to go efficient. And once you do all of that, not only the cost comes down, everything becomes superior. So that's my understanding of the market and where I am placed as of right now. We are getting our device approved by DRDO and the Army Design Bureau. Now, these are two authorities that I trust, and these are two authorities which carry that sort of weight in their validation, that if you have that validation, nobody in India, or as a matter of fact, the rest of the world, has the audacity to question the design or its validation. So what's going to happen now is most probably by August, we should have those validations. We have also partnered with multiple manufacturing partners who can help us scale up. We just signed an MOU for 1 lakh units with one of the manufacturers here in Delhi. So scaling up is a pretty clear path. It's just that when are we ready for scaling up? When should we launch it in the market? So we know with that much validation coming in, with that much interest coming in, we know that the volumes are there. We know the customers are there. So that's not a question of launching the product or having a soft launch or a pre-launch just to test the waters. We already know it's there. So now the question is, let's make a product bulletproof and let's just, get the revolution started.
Yeah.
All the best.
One second, Gursaurabh, I may request you to stop sharing the presentation. Then we can have your faces.
Oh yeah, okay, great.
Thank you so much.
Questions from 3 more people. There is Mangesh. You want to go ahead? Can you make it very short because there are quite a lot of questions coming up. Mangesh?
Yeah. Hi.
Yeah, hi.
Go ahead, Mangesh.
Actually, couple of quick questions. Like, how about the controller you're manufacturing or designing it in-house?
Yes. The controller that we are using, because of the PMDC setup and because of its simplicity, it's not much of a complicated thing. It's not a BLDC controller, or it doesn't have a lot of features into it. It's more like a regulator, which only regulates the current going into the motor. So it's a really small device, and we are manufacturing it in-house. And in fact, it is built inside of the motor. So it's not an external device that you need to attach.
Oh, okay. And it's not a BLDC motor, you said, right?
No, it is not. It's a PMDC motor.
PMDC. Okay. I didn't catch that. And any date for the launch and price?
Okay. Price is something I think very soon I'm going to be invited on that show हुआ था ना जनता की अदालत, and वहाँ पे वो इल्जाम लगने वाला है कि आपने क्यों नहीं प्राइस अब तक बताया and all that. Price depends on many factors. Once you go at scale, when you're looking at a 500,000 units in a year, a lot of things change. But to answer your question, right now the price is into 5 digits. I'm trying my best to bring it into four digits, including the battery. That's what I'm aiming for, and hopefully by the end of August, I'm very hopeful that we should achieve our target.
Okay, perfect. Fine. Just final question about the range that you expect, like battery size.
All right. So okay. So the one that I just showed you, like this particular design. All right. So the battery
Mm-hmm.
so the batteries come in here in this area. Our newer design now, which I worked on after the video went viral, has a separate removable swappable battery pack. So when you have a swappable pack, you have the freedom of choosing a big or a small or a medium battery. Now, let's say somebody in the rural sector who is using his bicycle for 8 to 10 kilometers a day doesn't have to buy a bigger pack. They can buy a smaller pack, which is cheaper. Somebody in Zomato or a delivery sector or a B2B sector, they need a 100-kilometer range, so they can buy a bigger battery pack. So we will have three battery packs, small, medium, large, in simple terms. And so that will affect the range. So you can have 10 kilometers, you can have 40 kilometers, or you can have 100 kilometers.
Sure. Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Hope
Mangesh.
to see the product soon in the market. Thank you and all the best.
Thanks, Mangesh. Sunil Kumar, you want to go next? Sunil Kumar, you unmute and ask your question, please.
Guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
So it's so very nice to hear you journey through you. Just one single small question is this module only adaptable to certain models of a cycle, or are you looking to kind of evolve into many other structure and models of the cycle?
Right. Okay, so the one problem with the bicycle industry is the inconsistency that is there. Now you have bicycles coming in from China, which are like different shapes and sizes. So that's not a market we are thinking about. We want to first target consistent models. So one of the can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So one of the predominant cycle designs that you see across is the Atlas cycle, commonly known as Dudwala cycle, Atlas cycle, and so on. And that is a consistent design. So we want to concentrate on that first, and then we move on to something like the B-twin from the Catalan or Firefox and so on. So to answer your question, it does require a bit of changes. In the mounts, some bicycles have a larger dia for their tubes. Some have square tubing, some have oval tubing. So accordingly, we have to change our mounts for the device. But does the device fit on other cycles? If it was a yes or no question, I would say yes. It fits on just about any bicycle, including rickshaws, tricycles.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, and best of luck for your rest of the journey.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sunil. Pramod, Sal Joshi, want to go ahead? Pramod Sal Joshi? You may have to unmute.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to know our bicycle have pedal assist system?
Sorry, are you asking about the pedal assist?
Yeah, pedal assist.
Yes, it can have a pedal assist. It's a bolt-on feature that we have in our motor that if needed, we can offer pedal assist. But initially, I am not going into that direction because the rural market that we are looking at, they are tired of pedaling in the first place. So I don't think so they would want to pedal anyway. So pedal assist comes at an extra cost. If the market or the client wants, we can of course offer pedal assist. That's not much of a big deal.
Okay, so it means we have only throttle options at the moment.
Yes, at the moment you will have throttle and you can pedal. I mean, pedal assist. Yes,
that is default.
Without the assistance, you can of course pedal. If you are in a very steep incline and you feel that you are under power, you can use the throttle and the pedals together. But pedal assist per se, right now in the first launch, we are not going through that.
Okay, sir. Last question about battery.
Yes.
So battery is an integral part of our casing?
What do you mean by integral? I mean,
What is our kit? That is aluminum casing.
right.
So that battery is included in that, or it is a separate part of
No. The
casing?
batteries are like I just showed you. The batteries are inside. Everything is inside. The device itself is a concealed device with battery and all the components inside of them.
Okay, sir. May I know the capacity of the battery or power of the battery?
Okay. So like I
Because battery itself take a regarding the size, it need more space
yes.
for installation.
Right. So batteries, we are using different batteries. Like I said, we have three different packs, small, medium, and large. The smallest one is 6 Ah, 6 amperes. The whole setup is running at 28 volts. So the medium one is at 18 Ah. It can go all the way till 40 Ah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your
My
Thanks.
pleasure.
answers. Yeah.
Deepak Ranjan, you can go ahead. Others could go on mute, please.
Hello, sir. Great talk. So my question is, the bicycles are made mostly to run slow, and now when you add the device to a battery, like a battery and the device that you invented,
Right.
the bicycles tend to move faster.
Right.
So when it moves faster, probably other requirements like with respect to the shock absorption, with respect to the seat,
Right.
and those requirements might come up. So how are are you doing something with the other accessories of the bicycle?
Right. Okay. So technically, I mean, if you would ask this question, yes, of course. If you're motorizing a bicycle, it would be nice to have disc brakes. It would be nice to have shock absorbers, or different seating stance. But in our particular case, our priority is to upgrade the cycles that are already there, and we can't go the route of changing shockers and brakes and everything. It's as you know, then we are getting to the point where we offer a complete bicycle. So that is part number one. Now coming to part number two, what is a bicycle rated at? What is the speed at which it's intended to go to? What is the top speed of a certain bicycle, right? So the bicycle is designed to be at the top speed of 25 kilometers an hour. And our device is also restricted to 25 kilometers an hour. And the government of India has also made a rule that bicycles which are motorized cannot go above 25 kilometers an hour. So we are already, even with the top speed, we are already in the range of the actual design parameters. Bicycle initially was designed to hit a top speed of 25. That's what the tires are rated for. That's what the brakes are rated for. And we are still in that zone. So it would be nice to have, I think the main change is not because of the top speed, the main change is because of the acceleration. Turning, when you're taking turns, you are, much at a slower speed. People who generally ride bicycles, they don't really use brakes that often. They would just slow down and wait for the bicycle to slow down. But now because of this acceleration, they would need better braking. So, but the roadster design, which you saw in the video, has adequate enough brakes. You just have to keep them tuned properly, make sure they're tight enough, and I think they should work.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Great. There's one thing, Gursaurabh, maybe very, very briefly, quickly, if you want to share about your, not only your, about not only invented this device, but you also found very innovative ways of taking it to the market. You want to talk a little bit about the CSC
Yes.
channel?
Yes. So, okay, I'll divide the whole conversation into two parts, right? One part is the journey of the invention and me as an inventor. And then there is the journey of the entrepreneur. Now let's divide these into two different parts. The journey of the inventor is over. The invention is done, it is out, that's done. How does it get to the masses is a question that needs to be answered as an entrepreneur. Now, even if I have the best iPhone made for 5,000 and I have a million units at my home, how do I get them to the people? That is a very complicated question. Now, there are multiple ways, each with its own benefits, advantages, disadvantages. And this is the time where you have to, stick to your vision to understand how and what I must do to make this whole system very efficient. Now, one way of doing it, which we are going to try, is the CSC route. Now, CSC centers are all across India. These are partly government-owned, partly private-owned. Um, you would see them for Aadhaar card verification, for documentation centers, etc. Now, these are everywhere in India. So we are now partnering with one of our partners who has 10,000 of them all across India. In just about every single pin code, they have multiple CSC centers. So we are going to collaborate with them and have the devices available on the CSC centers. So that's how we bypass the complete retail system, the dealership networks, and this is a true blue direct to customer model, even without Amazon. So that's the intent, and we just signed an MOU on that, and we are closing in on that. We we will first do a pilot batch, most probably in Haryana, and see how the whole system goes. And after that, I don't think so. There's anything stopping us from going pan India.
Great. Any more questions? I know Sunil and Pramod have some more. I want to give a chance to few others before I go back to them. Anybody else? Gokul, if you could mute your mic. I think there is some noise, unless you have a question. Thank you, Gokul. Okay, back to Sunil.
Thank you. So now, just a follow-up question on. See, you've been an inventor and you invented a product. Now, what was the journey after you invented and the people started receiving it with such a overwhelming response? How did you scale up, not just from a product point of view, but also you need to grow a team that helps you from different strategies and things. So how did you go about it from being just a very small innovator to a big business acumen?
Okay. A big business acumen. That was pretty flattering. Uh, so what was happening was that sometimes you discover a solution and then you search for problems. So my intent was solving a simple problem of mobility, but then what happened was, it just, there were so many different routes, there were so many different things that could happen, and uh, so during that time, in February and in March, went into a lot of confusion. There was a picture which I wanted to share, but I could not. Of a dog with like 1,000 tennis balls, and he's just not able to take a decision on which one to hold. So it was the same situation for me as well, because every single plan that I hear, it's like, oh, this is awesome. No, 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 that is awesome. And then you have people giving you ideas, and it's always confusion. But I think the biggest clarity that came in was from Anand Mahindra sir's office, and they said that, you know what, just stick to your original plan. Imagine that all of this never really happened. And even though this is not something so poetic or so something that you don't hear often, but the timing was so perfect, and that's what I did. I just cut myself off completely from all of this commotion and focused on my vision. In my vision, the product needs to be validated. I can't emphasize this anymore on that. So that's what's happening now. The team building and the organization building, fortunately, because I have spent 16 years into manufacturing sector, I do have people who I believe can add a lot of value here. So we do have a team of 11 people at the moment. We are pushing it in, and of course, by once we are nearing our launch date, once we progress, and like you rightly said, once we become big businesses, I'm sure we will have a larger team. Uh, you know, that's uh, that's what it is. And to be very honest, it's very difficult because I have been an individual. Whether it was mold and die making, whether it was motorcycling, whether whatever, and I never really, had a job per se in my life. So it to work with a very large team, the biggest change that needs to happen is going to be in my own attitude. That's what I am concerned about, and I'm working very hard towards.
Thank you,
Great.
sir.
Pramod Saljoshi, another chance. Pramod Saljoshi, you have a question? You have to unmute, please. Okay, Nimish, go ahead.
Yeah. So Gursaurabh, you had mentioned that, even before you did this, you were you were manufacturing a lot of things. So I want to understand, how did you get into manufacturing? What kind of, did you start from scratch, or did you have a family background in it?
No, I mean, no, it's absolutely not. In fact, my parents were not very happy about me going into this particular direction. But they're very supportive. I'm a very proud mama's boy. So as you can imagine, I was given the freedom and the opportunity to play around a little too much. So my interest into manufacturing came from my love for motorcycles. I got into motorcycles. I understood the market. I, understood that there is a vacuum for a certain section of motorcycles. This is good money. This is good opportunity. Parts can be manufactured. They can be exported. You can, deal with one of the best brands in the world, one of the best MotoGP racing teams. So that's what opened up the doorway. So initially it was buying and selling motorcycles, but then it became manufacturing spare parts, and then it became manufacturing the molds and dies which manufacture the spare parts in turn. So that's how the journey begins, and then once I got into mold and die making, this was once again very fascinating for me, and it was I was like I keep saying, I was very like a magnetic attraction I had towards such large machinery, and designing it, manufacturing it, playing around with it. Sooner I realized that, oh, it has become an expertise. Wow. So that's what that journey was like.
Okay. So how did you, working with sheet metal, doing molds, doing stuff like that, it doesn't happen like in your living room, right? So how did you set all of that?
Yes, of course. I do have my setup here in Delhi, in Najafgarh. I have been like I say, for the last 16 years. I've been working there, and working on sheet metal, mold and dies was the work that I was predominantly doing there. But for the last 5 years, I have just about given up working on molds and dies, and I have completely given my undivided attention to electric. So now I'm not working on molds and dies. It's a lot of work, and now it's electric and only. For the last 2.5 years, it's just the bicycle. I've been absolutely no other project, no other deviation. It's bicycle every single day, 15 hours a day.
Okay. No, it's a wonderful journey. I mean, from being a student of English literature to where you are now, I think it's a fascinating journey.
Thank you. I mean, I never let that be a hindrance anywhere. I mean, I do what I want. It's as simple as that.
Thank you.
Great. We have time for probably just one last question. Anybody? Yeah, Pramod Saljoshi, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Just want to know when product will available in the market.
Yeah, by the end of August, we are hoping that we should have a pilot launch in Haryana. And now, if that thing goes well, by Diwali it should be available everywhere in India, hopefully.
Okay, great. Thank you, sir.
Charuta, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. This is Anand. So, sir, I have been quite fascinated once I saw the video, which went viral about a few months ago. And since that day, I mean, I never thought that I would get to interact with you. And I'm a electric bike user myself. So whenever weather permits, I do use it to commute to the office. So one of the questions that crossed my mind, that with this invention of yours, has it put a final nail in the coffin of a regular bike, a human-powered bike?
Well, there is the lifestyle segment of bicycle users. I'm pretty sure that you must have a car or a bike or another source of daily commute, and bicycle for you is for leisure, for lifestyle, for fitness and so on. But then my intent is not to go into the Firefox category, 91 category, the Catalan category. You are talking about people who don't have an option, and they are riding a bicycle not by choice because there is no other option. The bicycle is for 4,000. The next best thing is 10 times higher at 40,000. What are they supposed to do? So nobody rides bicycles by choice. If that means that these bicycles will be upgraded to a motorized bicycle, and if that means that it's going to put up a nail in the coffin for other manufacturers, I couldn't care less.
Yeah, I mean, at least in the commuter segment, I think if this goes well, this is it, right?
This is it. This is, if this thing goes the way it should go, it is a revolution. And when a revolution happens, it disrupts many other things. This device is highly disruptive, not for the bicycle segment in particular, but for scooters as well. Now, who would buy a 40,000 Chinese junk if you could buy this for a fraction of a cost? And suddenly the two-wheeler market gets disrupted. And the way I can go on. I mean, we're not talking business here, but if we talk about how it disrupts the delivery sector, what happens to the fuel surcharge, what happens to Zomato and everything, it is, I'll just end it there. It is a revolution, and once that happens, my journey ends when I bring it to the market, and when it hits the market, people decide what they are supposed to do with it. If they decide to use it every day and give up everything else, including bikes and cars, I'll be very happy. If they don't, I would take that. If delivery sector gets disrupted, if other automobile manufacturers or aggregators, their model gets disrupted, well, what can I do about it?
Yeah, that's it. So wish you all the best, sir.
Thank
Great.
you.
Great. I think there cannot be a better way to conclude that the two operative words, this is it, and it's a revolution. Who knows where
It is a revolution.
Yeah, Saurabh, I mean, it's a very inspiring session. The focus, the diligence, the kind of experiments that you've gone through, and also to take it to that level of depth, not for anything else, but internally you have set such a high standard. I'm sure there cannot be two ways. It's going to be successful. And on behalf of all of us, we wish your venture all the best, and we certainly want this product to succeed. And I know in the midst of all of this, din, you took your time to spend your time with us.
It's my pleasure, Ravi. I was looking forward to this point, and it feels great to interact with you guys, especially with design. And I don't have a formal training in design, and if you guys appreciate it, it's something very big. It's not every day that a guy like me gets invited to a talk like this. So it's a big day for me, believe me.
Sir, on the lighter note, just I'm curious, when will your next Bollywood movie will be released? Autobiography.
I'm in talks with Akshay on that. And,
Wow.
Yeah. And
very nice.
we are just looking for a good-looking female. So in case if you have one, please do refer her my way, and I'll make sure that she gets the right training for the film.
All the best, sir. Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Wonderful. So with that, we close this session. And
Thanks, sir, for arranging this, by the way.
yeah. I mean, it's a pleasure having this talk. So with this, I am actually stopping the recording of the session.
All right.